In order to prevent injury, we want to maintain focus on a few key aspects. The first being your load management. The second being keeping a comprehensive training program to include your daily run, cross-training, strength and recovery days. And the third is keeping an eye on your symptoms or aches that you might be feeling. I'm Cristina Martello, sports physical therapist at HSS, and this is Move Better with HSS. When we think about injury prevention when it comes to training for long races, we want to think of this in different buckets that we want to keep an eye out for. The first bucket is going to be your load management. And load management means that you're taking particular attention to not have strong spikes in your training load. So that might mean running 5 miles one week and then attempting to run 15 miles the following week. So as you go through your training bouts, especially over an 8 to 10 or even longer weekly period, you want to gradually increase the amount of running that you're doing each week or daily run that you're doing each day. So if you're a beginner runner, I recommend that you take a longer period of training, meaning you're going to have a slower and steadier increase in your mileage, in your speed, or potentially the amount of workload that you're doing overall, including your strength training and your cross training. If you're a more experienced runner, you have a little bit more of leeway where you can have a shorter training period, but you still want to make sure that you're keeping an eye on not having drastic spikes in your training. As a new runner, you might find yourself in every single daily or training run having a high heart rate, but it's not optimal to operate at this level every single day, especially when you're going to have a long bout of intense fitness when it comes to race day. It's important to maintain at least 1 to 2 days of strength training in your routine and 1 to 2 days of exercise in which your heart rate remains a little bit lower than your typical steady state or base. And that might include something like using a bike or an elliptical or even swimming for a longer period of time, but not as intense physical activity. If we start to neglect some of these key aspects of our training, we may feel aches and pains popping up throughout the body. Particularly, we want to focus on an ache or a pain that might be lingering with us for over a 48 to 72 hour period, even having taken rest days. Once you start feeling pain, it's important to listen to your body and take a rest or recovery day. If you do so and the pain continues to stick with you, that's an early sign that this can continue into a more chronic symptom. Some typical aches and pains that you may feel over the course of your training period are going to include overuse or tendinitis type injuries. This can happen all over the body, especially in the lower extremity. So we want to pay particular attention to the hip flexor, which can be found at the anterior part of your thigh, and the glute medius, which is the posterior part of your buttock. These are two main areas that, because you're performing a single leg sport, can often get irritated with high load and number of impact. You also may be experiencing some tendinitis at your quad, which would be at the top of your kneecap, or at your patellar tendon, which is at the lower aspect of your kneecap. These types of itises also come from overuse and difficulty controlling your body through space. Lastly, you may experience some tendinitis or Achilles type pain at the lower ankle, which similarly is coming from the inability to transfer your weight in a forward motion as you continue to land on one foot. If you're feeling pain in any of those body parts, we know that there's a true tendinitis going on if you typically feel better once you continue running for a little bit, once your body is warmed up. But then you might feel worsening symptoms as you get into higher mileage training. For example, your ankle or your Achilles might be a bit sore on the first mile of your run. You might continue running and the pain tends to go away, but then towards mile 9 or 10, it starts to come back. And that's when you know that the tendon and the muscle itself is not able to tolerate the load that you're asking it. All of these types of tendinitis type injuries can be addressed with eccentric strength training and gentle stretching as your body particularly needs it. If the pain you're feeling is more sharp and intense, that either remains throughout your run or continues to get worse, you want to be thinking about the potential risk of a bony issue or stress fracture, especially if you've had a sharp increase in load over your training period. Pain that may be related to a stress injury is, of course, very important to recognize early on. It might be the difference between you completing a race or having to drop out. So to bring all of that information together, in order to prevent injury, we want to maintain focus on a few key aspects. The first being your load management. The second being keeping a comprehensive training program to include your daily runs, your cross training, your strength and recovery days. And the third is keeping an eye on your symptoms or aches that you might be feeling to recognize when you feel pain, how frequent you feel pain, if the pain sticks around during or after your run, and the type of sensation pain that you might be feeling. Above all else, listen to your body and seek medical help if necessary as early as possible so you can get to race day feeling your best.